Ken did not just casually move on. What happened here shows something much deeper, and when you really listen to every word, it becomes clear that this situation was building for a long time. This was not one random party photo that suddenly changed everything. This was the result of frustration, emotional distance, and problems that had been sitting under the surface for much longer than most people realized. The party photo only exposed what was already there. It did not create the problem. It revealed it. The conversation starts in a simple way. Two men are talking like normal, discussing health, getting back in shape, and trying to shake off that dad bod lifestyle. It feels relaxed and easy at first. Nothing dramatic, nothing serious. But then, the energy changes. One question shifts everything. His friend brings up Nashville. Then, he brings up the party. Then he brings up the woman everyone noticed standing next to Ken. And right there, the conversation stops being casual and starts becoming honest. What stands out first is that Ken does not deny it. He does not try to hide. He does not pretend the woman means nothing. He confirms it quickly, and that tells us a lot. Usually, when someone is unsure, they hesitate, they dodge, they change the subject. Ken does not do that. He speaks like someone who already made peace with his decision. That matters, because it shows this was not an accident. This was not a random moment. This was something he had already accepted inside himself. He explains that he had only known this woman for about a month. That timeline is important because a month is not a long time. It tells us this new connection started while the emotional space with Trish was still fresh and unresolved. This was not after a long period of healing. This was while emotions were still active. That changes how people see the situation, because it means there was overlap in emotional energy, even if nobody was saying it out loud. Then comes the part that really made people react. Ken describes the new woman by saying she is softer and more feminine. Those words hit hard because they are not just compliments, they are comparisons. When someone uses words like that, they are quietly explaining what they felt was missing before. He did not need to say Trish's name in that moment because everyone understood the comparison. He was describing the new woman, but he was also describing what he believed Trish was not giving him. That is why people started debating immediately. The word feminine became the center of the conversation because it sounded like more than attraction. It sounded like judgment. It sounded like disappointment that had been sitting there for a long time. People started asking what exactly he meant. Was he talking about personality? Was he talking about softness? Was he talking about emotional support? Or was he using that word as a safe way to criticize Trish without directly saying it? When he keeps talking, the picture gets even clearer. He says she is more relaxed. She does not care too much about appearances. She is affectionate. She makes things feel easy. Again, this is not just description. This is emotional contrast. He is explaining how she makes him feel, and that feeling is clearly different from what he felt before. This is why it feels bigger than just dating someone new. He is not simply interested in her. He is emotionally replacing something. That kind of replacement usually does not happen overnight. It happens when frustration builds quietly. It happens when someone feels like their emotional needs are not being met for a long time. Instead of fixing the problem, they start looking outside of it for relief. Sometimes they do not even realize that is what they are doing until they are already attached somewhere else. That seems to be exactly what happened here. But the most serious part comes when Ken admits how Trish found out. She did not hear it from him. She did not get honesty first. She found out through pictures, public pictures. That changes everything. Because now this is not just about moving on. It becomes about respect and how someone is forced to learn the truth. Seeing your partner with someone else through photos instead of a real conversation creates a completely different kind of pain. It feels like humiliation more than heartbreak. His friend presses him on that point. He asks if he was really out there taking this woman out in public like that. And Ken's answer is one of the biggest clues to what was really happening inside him. He says he got angry. He says he felt embarrassed. He says he reached a point where he just did not care anymore what he was doing. That statement says a lot more than people realize. When someone says they do not care anymore, sometimes it sounds like freedom, but often it is actually resentment. It means pain has been sitting there long enough to turn into action. Resentment does not stay quiet forever. It starts showing itself through behavior. And behavior, like being seen publicly with someone new while things are still unresolved, usually sends a message. Even if the person never says it directly, the action says it loudly. That is why many people believe Ken wanted Trish to see it. Maybe he would never admit that out loud, but the psychology points there. People who truly do not care usually leave quietly. They detach and move forward without performance. But loud actions often mean there are still emotions involved. When someone moves loudly, it usually means part of them still wants the other person to react. And that becomes even clearer when we look at Trish's response. She sees the picture. She brings it to him. And instead of a big fight, there is almost nothing. No screaming, no public breakdown. No dramatic scene. She simply says she is probably better off by herself. That one sentence carries more weight than 100 angry words. Because calm can be more powerful than anger. Anger still shows attachment. It shows someone is fighting for something. Calm withdrawal can mean something else entirely. It can mean emotional exhaustion,